Well, good afternoon. I'm Michael Byrd. I'm the chaplain here on the Des Moines campus, and I get the pleasure of sharing with you some very exciting programs that we've been doing, programs that have been designed to improve the quality of life of our residents. These programs are designed to soothe. These are innovations to soothe the spirit and to engage the mind. And as we're looking at the changes we've been doing, we're seeing so many exciting differences that we're making in individual people's lives, and it's a joy to share that with you. The first one is the Music and Memory program. Now, Music and Memory brought in, and the change is just phenomenal. It's a simple, elegant, effective way to bring a quality of life to people who are cognitively impaired. It's awesome to see what happens. It's the way of taking music, which all of our long-term memories are deeply seated because of a positive or negative emotional experience. We see that over and over. Many years ago, we had a gentleman in our memory care unit who was a lone survivor of his unit during the Battle of the Bulge. We didn't know this. He was watching television and a commercial came on for the film The Battle of the Bulge. It tripped the memories. He went back into his room, he started to barricade himself in, and the fear and the anxiety came back just from that one flash of this words, The Battle of the Bulge. All those long-term seated memories. But music is most overwhelmingly associated with the positive. And when you play music, except for a few exceptions, music brings back the positive memories. Now, the few exceptions, if some of us happen to be at the beach party, we're out in the water swimming, and somebody plays a theme song of Jaws on the loudspeaker. Now, St. Peter's not going to be the only one walking on the water as we get out of there. You know, that one, and for some reason for me, hearing the Star Wars Imperial March reminds me of my father coming home. And that deep, raspy voice of Darth Vader. But there are those memories that are associated with music that are negative, but for the most part, music brings in the positive. And it's that joy and the impact of the positive effect of music, of being a quality of life I want to share with you about, in one incredible example that just typifies what we're seeing. There's a gentleman, he's got early onset dementia. He's about 60 years, early 60s. He's over in our healthcare unit. It's a tragic experience to watch him. Before the Music and Memory program, he had a 1-minute attention span. Less than 1 minute. He was agitated, resistant to care, just very, very hard to work with. He sat down at a table with a coloring book. He picked up a crayon, just scribbled it, got up and walked away. We talked with his family. Now, the heart and the soul of this program are the activity ladies over there at the health center. They do such an incredible job. They talked with his family. They found the music he liked. 1960s Beatles. I don't know if that's music, but they put that on the headset for him. And they started to play. And when you watch what happened, it was miraculous. Here's this man that before would walk by you, not even recognizing you. You're a fixture and he's walking around you. That's it. You're not there. A non-entity. He walks by, you put the music on, and the magic happens. Suddenly he comes alive. He looks over at you as he recognizes the music. He starts to sing and you materialize in front of him and he engages with you. It's beautiful. You begin to see this pre-extroverted, pre-dementia man who's full of extroverted joy, and he looks at you and the joy comes out and he engages. And you see that animation, the life as he points and says, "Hey, there's the man," and he starts talking with you. He starts commenting about the different aspects, and he sees people. He pointed over to one of the ladies who's in housekeeping, and he stopped and he said, "She does such a wonderful job." And he was commenting about her, and we see him come to life. He sat down at that table with a coloring book. And a man who only had a attention span of less than 1 minute sat down for over 25 minutes, singing to his music, listening to it, and he colored all within the lines. What was amazing was his choice of colors. It was beautiful. You look back at this piece of art, and you were amazed at what he did. He took the headset off, and the good mood and the attitude persisted. He was compliant, he was helpful, he was joyous, he was easy to work with. He went on outings with his family because there was a change that happened. As we look at the human brain, we can look at this 3-pound organ and we can see different areas of the brain that deal with speech, that deal with the olfactory, but there's no one part that says music. The music engages the entire brain. There is a spiritual element that engages the man, and we see it across the board in wonderful ways. This man, he got up from the music and he was a changed man, and it lasted a long time. But then a few weeks later, fast forward, Tara, who was our activity leader in memory area, she came to my office, just knocking at the door, excited. The door was wide open, but she started knocking like crazy. She said, "You can't believe what happened." She brought me down there to show me. She had had the music on and headphones were off, and she was playing the piano. He came up and he sat beside her, reached over, and just started to play the most beautiful melody, only on the dark keys. And as he looked up and he noticed people responding in joy, he started playing an even rich, lively melody. We found out that he had his own band. And as people were responding to him, it brought him joy. And he started playing a more rich and beautiful song. That's an incredible program. The exciting thing for us is we're seeing these incredible results. We're seeing these incredible, beautiful pictures, not only at the health center, assisted living, but Lee Hill's doing an incredible job of this. We're seeing wonderful pictures of changed lives. Now, I asked permission of Gene Bratt to tell you about this, and he said yes. Many of us know Gene, former board president. His wife came down with Alzheimer's-related dementia disorder, and Gene, dutiful man, was primary care for her for a long time, until it became too much for him to care for her. And he brought her over to the health center, and as he was talking about her, he said, "You know, the dementia's advanced. She's had something else happen, that she's right-handed. She can't use her right hand." And he said, "You know, it broke his heart as he went in there and had to see somebody else feeding her. That's his beautiful bride." So he goes, "You know, I just don't come in at lunchtime anymore." So we started working with the music, and the dynamic between Gene and myself, Gene's former Marine Corps, I'm former Army. There's a little banter. I think it's envy on his part. But as we go back and forth, he came in and we'd have the music and memory going, and Gene would walk in and say, "Yeah, it's an Army program, isn't it?" You know, "Gene, what are you saying?" He goes, "That music and memory, it's Army, isn't it?" And then he'd grin and say, "It's not working. It has to be Army. It's not working." And this would happen several weeks. And then one day he came into my office and he said, "You know, it's working." And so I had to get more information, you know, anytime, especially from Gene, tell me something positive. And Gene said, "You know, he came in and she was sitting there, feeding herself with her left hand. Nobody cueing her. Because she's not left-handed. She can't use her left hand. But she was feeding herself with the left hand. Something with the music and memory caused a bridge." I was talking with Dan Cohen, the founder of Music and Memory, and he said, "You know what, we don't understand exactly what happens within the brain, but just this last month, there was a donation of $50,000 to begin the scanning process, to do the PET scans, to do the other scans, to find out what's happening inside the brain before, during, and after the music, because the changes are transformational. People are going from agitated, irritated, to a quality of life. And we're able to do this, largely because of a grant from the foundation. We're able to provide these services. Our results are incredible. It's exciting. It's exciting to see what's happening over at Lee Hill. It'll be more exciting when this computer works. And that didn't work. Turn it off. There we go. One of our other innovations that we started, it was brought to us by Lisa Meineke. And Lisa, she's our Director of Resident Services, and she was asked to develop a program that supported our residents' physical, social, and cognitive needs. One program. That's a challenge. So she was looking around and trying to figure out what she could do, how she could bring out something that met those physical, social, and cognitive needs. And she came up with the idea of BrainFit. Now, BrainFit is a program that was started by Dr. Winningham out of Western Oregon University. It's an incredible program that begins to work to strengthen our cognitive abilities. And Lisa Meineke, she and our Director of Fitness Instructor, Kaylee Peters, went and found the best education and training that they could find and became certified cognitive enhancement trainers. They did that through Leading Age. They became trainers on that, and they started the BrainFit program. This is a 10-week course that takes our residents through an education training program. The foundation gave them 10 iPads rather, to work on, and they put this together. The exciting thing is, to date, 150 of our residents have gone through the BrainFit program. That's exciting. What's more exciting is that they wanted to decide, are what we're doing effective? how do we make sure that what we're doing is effective? So they gave tests before the Brain Fit program and then after the Brain Fit program. What they found was truly remarkable. They saw a 20 to 25% improvement on the scores of cognitive agility, retention, and concentration. That's incredible. And it's a joyful experience. Not content to stay there, Lisa and Kaylee decided, let's develop an advanced program. Let's keep going with this. So using their own skills and what they had and using places like Luminosity and FitBrain, they put together an advanced program. And our residents are enjoying it. It's a great place to go, to meet friends, to develop, and to continue enhancing our abilities. And what we find clearly demonstrated is that regardless of age, exercising our brains increases, enhances our quality of life. And it's a joyful time. It's a fun time for everybody. The other picture that we have coming up is just an exciting time as we think about how do we enhance the quality of life? How do we keep going? And our activities director over at the health center, Nani, she was facing a problem that we have this wonderful program that we have, this Nintendo Wii, and we try to use it. It's great for independent residents, but we have a huge handicap over at the health center because people with cognitive impairment can't hold on to the remote, find out which button do I push and when, and try to use it. Somebody with arthritis or hand problems can't use those things. I myself have a severe problem when I get a new cell phone. So can you imagine somebody who's trying to learn and operate this thing? And thank God for that little wrist leash that comes on it. Otherwise, that remote would have been through the television. And what we found is that as they're doing the Nintendo Wii, we have more of a group sitting on the sidelines, watching and observing those who can participate. And it just lowers their quality of life. So we started thinking, what can we do? What can we come up with that doesn't look at what people are not able to do, but what can we do that enhances what they are able to do? Whether or not they can use a remote, but can they access their hands? And what we found in a beautiful way was Xbox. Xbox One with Connect. It's a wonderful program. This program, the Connect, registers off of your hand. So it doesn't matter what motion you can do or what you can do. If you can only move a little bit, it senses your motion and it interacts with you. We calibrate it to the person, whether they're standing in front of it or in a wheelchair. It calibrates to them. So if they can make a small motion, that Connect registers it, and a person who before was left on the sidelines is now participating in the game. Somebody who has a cognitive impairment who doesn't understand quite what's happening, they can watch the screen, and that's the second part we're getting from the foundation, is an 80-inch large screen television set. That's going to be great. Bring somebody, put them up in front of that, get the Connect engaging. They can play tennis, they can play golf, boxing, you name it. We can engage and interact. And the quality of life comes up because it's not based on what you cannot do. It's based on what you can do, what you're capable of doing. And one day as I was listening to a seminar put on by this gentleman who's an orthopedic surgeon, he brought up this interesting caricature called a homunculus. This homunculus represents the surface area of our brain of what percentages goes to what part of our body. And it's a perfect representation when you realize that 60% of our surface area of our brain simply addresses our hands. 60%. And what we noticed was that with music and memory, our residents that were putting the music on, the first lady we tried it with, because of stroke, because of dementia, she was sitting in the wheelchair, not responding, her hands she has not been using. She began to keep rhythm with her fingers. One of the first signs we saw that she was engaging with it. Other people, they start dancing with their hands, moving with their hands. It's a beautiful response. Our gentleman, he sat there and began drawing. The art was beautiful, using his hands. As we look at the Brain Fit program, they're using the iPads, they're engaging with the hands, and the quality of life improves. Many years ago, I had a gentleman in the health center. He was on hospice. He stuck inside for a long time. And he said, can you just take me outside? Get me outside. Get the nurse. I don't care. Just get me outside. So we went outside, and he pointed over to the flower beds, and he said, take me there. So we go over to the flower beds, and he said, are the nurses around? And I said, no, it's just us. He put his hand deep into the flower bed. He pulled up a handful of dirt, and he said, all my life I've worked with dirt. He smelled it. And as he dropped the dirt, he said, "Don't let them clean my fingernails. I want to die with dirt under my nails." The feeling of the hands. So we looked at this beautiful program, and we're calling it Cognition Connection, and we'll play on the words to connect with the mind by using the hands to bring a higher quality of life for our residents. In each one of these programs that we've been looking at, every one of them, we are looking at ways that we can enhance the quality of life for our residents, innovations to soothe the soul, to engage the mind, to provide a higher quality of life for our residents who come here to Wesley Homes to enjoy life and to live the life that God has given them to the fullest. So thank you for helping us. Thank you to the foundation for providing the funds that we can do these wonderful innovations. And thank you for coming to Wesley. This is a great place to work, with great innovations to help people.